Hello everyone and welcome back to day 2 of the 20th anniversary marathon here at Metal Gear Speedrunner, celebrating Metal Gear Solid 2. It is finally November 13th, the actual 20th birthday of the game, released in the US, and of course today we bring you one of the greatest races ever in European Extreme. We have JosephJoestar316 versus dlimes13 and commentated by Plywood and Apache Smash. Guys, take it away.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Today is the day some of us have been waiting for actually like a year. We've all been very excited for this day, the 20th anniversary, and we have an exciting intro to today. Packed schedule, of course, but we have dlimes13 versus JosephJoestar on European Extreme, Tanker Plant, of course. And European Extreme is one of my favorite race categories because there are just so many things that can go wrong in this run, and it keeps it very exciting even through the end of the game.
Yeah, it's absolutely never over at any point. The lead can swing at any point during a race. There are so many mistakes to be made, costly mistakes. There's some absolutely crazy things you can go for to get time save all over the place. Yeah, I'll never get tired of this run.
And the fact that we're on PC means that even Solidus, because Solidus on HD Collection Euro Extreme is nerfed. It's not as hard, but on the original versions of this game, before the HD version, Solidus can easily kill you on Euro.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's happened to people, and it's super heartbreaking if you're on a big boss run to get killed by Solidus at the end because he jumped on you or whatever, slashed you up. But that being said, we're running through the tank as Solid Snake. And nice distraction shots by both players to distract the guard in the cafeteria as we enter Olga and hope that we get good luck from Olga. Remember, folks, one shot, one kill, Olga hits us, we are dead as a doornail. So doing this nice little dodge to avoid getting shot, and then peeking back out to get
I've been with the unit
shots
since
off
I was
on
born.
Olga.
I grew up on the battlefield. Conflict and victory were my parents.
Same Olga so far. Both hitting that unskippable cutscene.
dlimes got an extra shot as Olga was going to the back. So he's going to finish the fight first. But as long as Joe, yeah, that was still a good fight from Joe. He just didn't get that second shot before the cutscene. Frankly, like in a race setting, you'll take that Olga.
Yeah, I'm sure they're both. Yeah, I'm sure they're both feeling very pleased with what they got there. And going for a dav drop, you'll see them both unequip the gun. Neither gets it.
A very small little time save of being able to avoid the animation of, well, I'm going to say Snake, but it applies to Raiden as well, of dropping from a height.
Yeah, so they'll both, the menu type we use in this game is previous, so you can see them both swapping between their M9 and the SOCOM when they hit R2. It's a very important thing in order to speed up your control of the characters in this game. So all through the tanker, they'll swap between the M9 and the SOCOM, and then later in the plant during bomb disposal, you'll see them generally swap between a weapon and coolant all the way through.
So, dlimes stated before this race that he is not even attempting to get Big Boss. I think Joe is still intending to do BB strats, so as you saw, dlimes just said, I'm not going to trank headshot that guy in the break room in that lounge area while Joe opts to do it. So that's already going to create a little bit of a gap. However, even though these players are going for two different sets of strategies, again, it really does not matter in the grand scheme of things, because you take a death, a very key death in this run, you could lose minutes.
Absolutely. That small time save only will matter if they both play perfectly throughout the entire run.
And good luck doing that. This run is pretty notorious.
It's phenomenally hard. I think that, you know, all Metal Gear speedrunners, no matter where they would place it, everyone would place this run very high up in terms of difficulty versus other runs. It's a very intimidating speedrun.
Yeah, and most of that just comes from like the risk of death is so high in this run. It's so high. You know, MGS3 Euro, a whole thing of not getting spotted. In this game, it's not dying.
Yeah.
You select no, you know, most runners select no game over if discovered, and that's why you'll see both runners use warning shot strats to, you know, cause the guard to pull out a radio or walk out of the way, that kind of thing. So D-Lime starting his guard rush.
He's doing lethal guard rush, which means the guards will die faster and spawn in faster, but he has to get all headshots, which isn't always easy. He's swapping to the M9 now. But every single time you kill a guard or stun a guard with an M9, they fade out at different speeds and allow new guards to take their place. It happens much faster with the SOCOM. That was a ridiculously fast guard rush.
It was very good. And Joe still lethaling the last 3 guards, since as long as you do them all in quick sequence, they don't count as kills since they haven't faded away yet. So ladder glitch followed by holds 1 for limes. Let's see if he can get through this. Got the ladder glitch a-okay. Gets the trank on the guard. Very clean. Rolls past the dude. Well done. Now Joseph's.
I believe he'll take this safe. He does normally go safe, yeah.
Yeah, this is completely fair in a race setting. You know, take that 2 seconds, aim at the guard. You know, that's fine. That's totally fine. Again, it's unlikely that that little thing is going to make the difference. However, a bunch of little things can make the difference against dlimes13.
Yeah, this whole area is game over if discovered, so taking a safety strat here is probably one of the best rooms to do it in. But both of them have had pretty solid tankers, and it's impressive just to be able to get out of this area without taking any continues.
So Lime saved 2.5 seconds over Joe in the holds, which really not that big of a deal. Wait until the end of the race when they are literally 2 seconds separated from each other, and then that will make the difference. But until then, I'm going to say not a big deal. Very good tankers from both players. No issues significant at all. It's just Joe taking things a little bit easier, which I completely respect. Joe runs a lot of different games, and I'm much more of a Joe player than a Limes player with this game, because Limes is extremely comfortable just in general at this game. Not just the main game, but the ILs, the VR. So while Joe is no spring chicken to this game, it can be a bit overwhelming coming back to Euro in Solid 2.
Yeah, it's also worth saying that Joe wasn't expected to do this race today. It was originally going to be Jaguar King, but as we know, he's recently had a baby girl, so congratulations, Jag. And he had to step out for, obviously, the more important real-life matters, and Joe agreed to do this race, like, the last minute, so, you know, even more respect to him for keeping up so well.
Absolutely. So, the dock... Got to get into this nice little position to choke the guard. In the case of D-Limes, he's just going to choke the guard. Joe is going to likely choke the guard like once and then set up for a groin punch. So, nice little reverse groin punch from Joe. Waiting by that crate to lure the guard over. knocking on the box to lure the other guard so that doesn't spot him as he goes onto the elevator. Well done on that, Doc.
This start of plant area does feel like a little break before you get into what is one of the most difficult parts of the run, the bomb disposal section. I think everyone can enjoy this little break between the difficult tanker section and then the really difficult bomb disposal section.
I mean, yeah, but I've I've screwed up AB bridge before. It's like you get a little break and then like get back on your toes because it's if your movement is off or you do a stupid cartwheel here on AB bridge, you could get caught.
Or a bit of freakish movement that Limes just did there.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Takes a shot. He could get caught at the door here as well. The backup team comes through the door. Very nice using them to open the door for him so he could cartwheel through it. If you mistime that, you get kicked by the alert team, and then he would be one shot from death, which he could easily take while he's on the floor or when he tries to go for the door again. So that was a little bit risky, a little bit scary.
Yeah, already being a shot down. You know, I have confidence in Limes as a player, but even so, there goes a third of your health already, and most of the time you're going to get shot in strut F. So at that point, you are one hit from death.
Yeah.
Joe opting to grab the SOCOM ammo in the locker, another just nice safety strategy. What that allows you to do potentially is empty out a SOCOM for a magazine. You can use that to distract a guard later, or you could just have extra ammo, period. And it's just like a nice little safety. You take a few seconds out of your way to give yourself a little extra ammo because it's pretty tight early on.
And of course, we skip the 3.5 minute Stillman cutscene because we always start on New Game Plus. So that cutscene's unskippable if you don't start on, if you start on New Game.
3.5 minutes? I thought that was like at least 15.
Yeah, could be. I don't know.
Yeah.
No one knows.
No one has ever done the math. Cute little warning shot shown again from Joe to avoid getting shot by the guard in strut C as dlimes begins freezing the first bomb in strut B. It's
really a slick movement from Limes there.
You know, the start of bomb disposal is not so bad, but once you get to strut F, that's when things start getting scary. So, going to the roof, there are more bombs on the higher difficulties, so you have to head up to strut A roof to freeze the bomb here. I'm guessing Limes is just gonna.
I was assuming that
Kill
he's just
this
going to
guy.
blow his head off.
Yeah, I don't know.
he did an extra cartwheel that he didn't mean to. Like it was kind of worked out kind of weird. But I knew he was going to just blow that guy's head off.
Yeah, there's no reason to. We'll probably see it from Joe, which is a funky little cartwheel. Oh, he's actually opting to groin punch. That's totally fair too. As long as you can get that punch quick, like it's not so bad. Interesting. Limes opting to just let the guard go, which I consider to be a bit more of a safety strat.
I assume that he didn't want to shoot him because he doesn't want the guard in the other room to hear. But
Yeah.
does he catch you on the way back? I'm not 100% sure.
It's tight. Like
He's good.
I mean, the groin punch is also somewhat tight. They get up fairly quickly. But that was interesting to see from him. I was not expecting that. Joe did the more risky strat. It might be that dlimes just really hates groin punches, which is totally fair. It is super awkward to do. Like it's a powerful move, but okay, there you go. Now Limes is at one hit from death. Hopefully he doesn't take another shot. Scary health to be at. Scary health to be at. One momentary lapse of like judgment, and you're dead.
Especially with that like late movement down into the pit and stuff. I wondered if that was going to change anything up, but he seems fine. But yeah, one more hit and he is out of there.
Ooh, Joe not quite hitting the position for this crack freeze.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be able to hit the bomb from there, really. It's kind of a glitch, I guess. It's also what we did with the Strut A bomb as well. We hit it from a place we shouldn't actually be able to. There are a few bombs like this in this game. Maybe there's even more spots like that that we don't know about. Strut E. Yeah, we have tried. Strut E is a notoriously difficult room. You're on a caution, so you do have these alert guards, which essentially an alert guard, the ones wearing the body armor, they as soon as they see you, they don't have to call an alert in. The game just instantly changes to an alert. So it's always risky. You want to take all these guys out in this strut. So we stand at the doorway like Joe's doing now and just shoot them all.
Yeah, you have to do it in a certain sequence. You can't just pick guards off randomly because they see very far on Euro. And if you're not picking the right guards and doing everything in the right sequence, they're going to see that something's up on the other side of the room. But Joe meeting his cycle to freeze the bomb. He got everything he needed. Very nice. Those guards will be waking up as he comes back down. The gap between these players is really not that large. They're still in the same room together. dlimes opting to go wide. I think that actually, no, that's what you usually do if I remember correctly. I'm thinking of Extreme, which I've run a lot more, and that vision difference on Extreme changes a few rooms. Though, if you are interested in running Euro, I highly recommend starting with Extreme, since it's a little bit more forgiving.
Yeah, if you haven't ran MGS2 before and you want to run European Extreme, I highly recommend not starting on European Extreme.
Please don't. I mean, you can, but you probably shouldn't.
You can. There's like 3 people who've done it. No, it's really tough, and learning more about the game first will serve you really well. Strut D is another room that's known as one of the hardest rooms in the game. It's certainly, I think it's up there as the individual most difficult strut. And Limes has messed up there a little bit. I thought he was going to reset the room.
Yeah, I thought he was actually resetting the room, but he was just kind of, twiddling his thumbs for a little bit. The problem with this room, the problem with this room is it's so open. The sight lines are so clear that the guards can easily see you. So, and the cycles are somewhat difficult to manage. Joe's actually doing a very good job of managing this room. He has
that guard's still up. He's gonna. We get the I thought he was gonna get the iframes of being shot from being in the cutscene, but that's absolutely awesome. He's picked up some time on Limes here. Look, he's right on his tail now.
Yeah, that was a really clean execution from Joe. Really impressive. Like, again, this room, if we're going back to the Extreme Euro comparison, this room's a lot easier on Extreme because they're not seeing you from the opposite side of the room quite as easily.
Yeah, we don't have the vision cones because obviously none of the players can have radar. You have to activate each node, so obviously it's too big of a time loss. No one does that. But if we did, you would be able to see like how absurdly far the guards can see in European Extreme. They can see like half a screen away. It's huge.
So Joseph Joestar still very hot on Limes' tail as they freeze the last bomb before the countdown sequence begins. You want to freeze this bomb as the last one, which the funny thing about that whole thing was the other difficulties would do the same thing, but then it was later discovered that freezing that bomb first was faster as long as you're not having to deal with guards being in your way.
Yeah, if you're coming from the if you're coming into Strut C from the south, it's faster to defuse the bomb first. If you're coming in Strut C from the north, it's faster to get the sensor first. So in different difficulties, we defuse the bombs in different orders, and we go counterclockwise or clockwise around the struts.
And then there's the conveyor belt route, which is a whole different kind of can of worms.
It's the future.
It is the future. The future is now. It's 20 years old. So once again, coming into the AB bridge to roll this guard over. That is honestly like that roll has given me a lot of trouble. It's quite easy to do it too late, and you'll just sail past the guard, and you're in this very annoying backup scenario where you need to trank the dude, and then you're probably gonna have to trank the other dude. So it's a little bit more. It's funny looking, but it's also somewhat precise.
Yeah, I think it's worth saying in that bomb disposal, Joe went for a lot more risky stuff. He played really to the wire there to keep up with Limes and get a bit of time back versus Limes' tanker.
Yeah, Lime's still, having a comfortable lead-ish. I mean, as comfortable as
an uncomfortable lead.
Yeah, I shouldn't say comfortable. If he can keep this up for the whole game, he's fine. But that assumes, we haven't even hit the first boss fight of Plant yet.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about Fortune.
Speaking of a boss fight,
what is this? A boss fight?
This is the don't die section fight. There's a couple of things in this room. Fortune fires much faster on this difficulty. You'll see both players using the Zone of the Enders box. The box allows you to have a tighter turn-in circle, so you can run back and forth a lot easier in the box. If they get hit, they're dead, and we just essentially have to do this for the entire fight. There is a section where both players will need to grab a pack of ammo in the northeast of the room. If you grab it at the wrong time, the barrel explodes. The barrel's also a one-hit kill as well.
Yep, that has killed me in a run before. You go at the wrong time, and the explosion just murks you. So if it wasn't enough that Fortune is firing her railgun really fast, double shots, you also have that to contend with. Thankfully, I think the box strategy is easier than the pop-out strategy, and since lag is not really a concern on PC, you can do the box strategy just fine. Depending on what version you're playing, though, the box strategy is going to lose you time due to the lag involved.
Yeah, you kind of need to do pop-out strat on the PlayStation 2 versions like that, but on the PC, the game simply doesn't lag. And you see Limes put his box on there. I think Joe will do the same. There's actually a claymore on the ground in your path, and the box allows you to turn out the way of it much easier.
You could just run naked, but you're putting your life in jeopardy. Because the claymore just will kill you in one hit on European Extreme.
In Strat F, yeah, this is one of my favorite strats, but we're just going to spray this guard. Oh, Limes isn't going to do it. I mean, Joe will do it, though, I think. He'll spray the guard with the coolant. Oh, neither do it. Neither do it. This is just like...
Why did you say that?
Of course.
You're like, they're about to do this really cool strat that I love. He's like, well, Joe's going to do it, right? Joe's going to do it.
Limes just blew up the cipher there. I think Joe will do the same, right? Or perhaps he'll use the box to hide from it.
Use the box. You just use a visual cue for when to move forward. This box is super valuable, not only to drop your profile, but avoid getting hit by guards and tighter turning radius. Great stuff.
Yeah, no hit stun as well if you get hit by a guard while you're in it. You don't take any hit stun.
Yeah, that'll be very important near the end of the game.
Yeah, Lime's nearly picking up those stun grenades. Did you see that?
No, I did
During
not.
the time of finishing the last bomb, before the Fat Man fight started, he ran all the way to the stun grenades and he very nearly picked them up. Your movement has to be perfect to get them. But yeah, we're going to start by defusing the left bomb for Fat Man, then knock him down and defuse the right bomb, and that will keep him in this loop for a little bit. I think you get this once more, and then Fat Man will skate off. Now, we want to stick as close as possible to Fat Man at all times so we can immediately knock him down. He doesn't get any chances to plant any more bombs, essentially. If you lose him, this fight can get out of hand really fast. Fat Man plants a lot of bombs on European Extreme, so we stick as close as possible, but of course, if you get too close to him and he bumps into you, it will take a third of your health off. So it can be a risk trying to stay this close, but Lime's doing a great job so far. Joe seems to be keeping up with Fat Man really well as well. During this time, you have to be able to pick up the ammo as well. You don't have enough ammo in your gun for the entire fight, and there are spawns all through the fight, so Limes kills Fat Man there, and Joe is not far behind him either. I think one more knockdown, or one more after this. But Joe needs ammo. It's 6 to knock him down, right? I don't think he needed that ammo.
No, he didn't. As long as I was about to say, as long as he's like smart on his shooting, like he didn't need to go pick up the ammo. But I think he's just a little bit worried that he was gonna miss, or I don't know. But it's fair. Like sometimes Fat Man can turn and you miss like your chain of attacks, and then like the thing about this fight, it's hard to learn on Euro. Once you understand the fight, it's actually not that hard. The problem is if you screw up and Fat Man gets away from you and he starts planting bombs, like once he plants more than 2 bombs, it's pretty much over. If he plants, because he can plant like 4 or 5 bombs, and then he starts that like 30-second timer, forget about it. You should just roll off the edge and start over, because you're not going to be able to defuse all that in time.
Yeah, it's not just that, but it takes 2.5 seconds to actually defuse the bomb. Once you get to it, you have to find it in some circumstances, although they are kind of set positions. You have to work out which set position he's using, and yeah, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, fair point from Platonic Guy in chat that Joe probably just wanted the ammo for...
He wants the ammo, yeah.
Because he would only have like 1 bullet. It's not great.
A cool strat Limes used there before he picked up the AK was he shot the wall, so the guard walks up and stares at the wall to investigate, and that allows him to pick up the AK. We can't progress the game without the AK. It's needed apart from the BDU that you get from Ninja.
Joe opting for the safer, easier strat, which is just that distraction. Sorry, I had to interrupt you because we had that comparison, but...
Don't worry about that. Yeah, so once Limes hits the elevator in this costume, if you don't have both the suit and the AK, it won't let you progress. And is he doing the caution strat here? So he's purposely getting himself a caution.
Yeah, so...
Or not? I don't know.
No, it didn't stick. I think the timing wasn't quite right. But if you do caution here, you'll be able to skip these little mini cutscenes. There's going to be this guy running around doing laps, and it loses a bit of time. But if you're on caution or alert, you'll avoid it. Nice, clean, crisp TM movement from dlimes going around those guards. Well done. Let's see how Joe handles B2. This room can sneak up on you. Like, you can kind of lower your guard down here since it's just lines, but you know, if you bump anyone, your disguise is revealed and you are in a bad spot. Really, really bad spot if you get spotted here.
Lime's not going for the extra package of stun grenades. I know some runners like to get the stun grenades out of the locker. Maybe he's picked up enough with the ones he got in Strut F. I think he got the ones during Fat Man. He may just think, I've got enough. We won't see those getting used until Tengu 1, much later in the game.
Also, being very careful to not
look at this nerd.
Time here.
Look at this nerd.
I love it. I respect it immensely. I'm all about the pause buffer, the pause scumming for Ames here. So he just did a really great backup strategy. If Ames is in a bad position, rather than having to wait out guard cycles, which is a huge pain, as long as you PPK And then on the kick, you switch out to the D mic and FPV. You do that, you'll be able to talk to aims essentially invisible, and no guard will care. Much better than having to deal with cycles. Cycles in that room are a nightmare on Euro.
Yeah, it's really lucky, to be honest. Like, imagine how hard some of those spawn positions would be if that glitch didn't exist.
Imagine
You would,
how much time loss from RNG you would get in
you
aims.
you would walk into the room, you know, for like a world record high level kind of run. You would walk into the room. Oh, Lime's going super fast, risky strat for the shell 1 exit. That's so difficult to do, because that guard with the shield. It doesn't matter that you've thrown a chaff. If he sees you, you get an instant alert. That's spooky.
That was wild. That is
Yeah.
that is the kind of strategy you do when you're very comfortable with the game. Most people, like what Joe just did, is what I do. I trank that guard. I'm not taking any chances, you know, because if you get caught on alert, it's over. You're gonna have to take a game over at that point, because there's gonna be ciphers outside, and you're just gonna get stalled on the bridge. So coming in here to get the PSG1 for both players. Nicely done by Joe. I think he's now going to get the infinite caution. Oh wait, no, that's on HD version. Sorry.
The infinite caution that sometimes happens on HD is actually beneficial, because the caution, depending on how you play these next 3 rooms, can end as you get to strut D, and the backup team will leave in the direction that you're going. So I think like Lime's just purposely refreshed his caution by firing his gun there. So he wants to leave to the shell 1-2 connecting bridge with a caution still up, rather than it nearly being over.
Yeah, it makes a really awkward situation if the timing's off when the caution is cleared in strut D. So this is where things are going to get interesting. Harrier, arguably the hardest fight in this whole run. You can make an argument for Raze as well, but this fight is gnarly. Pretty much everything kills you in 1 hit. So, and high octane, Harrier takes a lot of missiles. The setups are either range from hard to very hard. And because of the lack of lag, like everything is super fast and serious. So I know we're not even talking about like shooting out these sensors, but there's not a whole lot to talk about unless
There's a
someone
lot of
listens.
them.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Don't hit the ciphers. Please don't hit the ciphers.
Right, so Limes is going to start his Harrier fight just now. He's going to have to pick up the Stinger in front of him and then hit the Harrier above his head 5 times, which is very, very difficult to do. 2, 3, once overhead and once before it flies behind the strut. That's really nice. He's then going to set up to... the Harrier's going to zoom overhead with a machine gun attack, I believe, at this stage, and it comes so fast that he only has time to do 1 shot. So that's why he ran onto the stairs immediately. He has very little time between the shots to get things in. So now we're going to do the die shots. So we skip this cutscene after aiming at a certain place, and that will allow us to hit Harrier 2 more times. And this is all looking very good so far. And now he's going to look for the Harrier.
Meanwhile, Joe did a pop-out strat instead up top to get the iframes from the pop-out shot, and then dropping to the rail to get those shots underneath. While Limes gets that nice overhead shot. If you delay that shot a little bit too much, you'll actually kill yourself with your own stinger. So nicely done from Limes, not doing that.
Can he end before the missile phase here?
Yeah, I think. Oh no, it was really close. It was just the slight like, you need to be able to hit certain parts of the Harrier to do max damage. So I think that was just the issue, but that was still a really clean Harrier. Totally acceptable. Like, look at the difference on Joe's health and what Lime's health was. Joe still has a few shots to go, so definitely a better Harrier for Limes. And there it is. You missed that shot, and the Harrier's gonna fly out. Let's see if he can land that.
He did
Okay.
really well there to catch it. If that Harrier had got
recovery.
behind the building, he'd have been waiting a long time for that next shot. So, like, although Joe finished slightly behind Limes with that Harrier, both of those were unbelievably fast and well executed.
Yep. And that was, I mean, both runners have been doing a really good job this race. So far, it's been quite clean, and a lot of the super hard stuff in this run is over. Actually, there's still difficult stuff. There's still ways to die. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of the most stressful things, like that whole sequence from Shell 1 core to this, is just nail biting. And they both did the perimeter, well, the start of the going to Shell 2 core well. Shouldn't speak too soon. Using nice little knock strat to distract the guard. They were both using the BDU as they were approaching those guards investigating as camouflage. Very important that you do not have the BDU equipped as you enter Shell 2 core, or else the cutscenes will load slower on every version of this game. Doesn't matter what version it is. You will lose a little bit of time.
Yeah, any game where it's going to render the characters inside of a cutscene, where you can have, where it will show you still wearing the BDU. If you have it on, the game takes a long time to render it. So
Yeah,
it slows down all versions.
Yeah, it's some like coding issue that, like, you know, loading in that BDU, the game's like, oh, the BDU's equipped. So that's at least my hypothesis about it.
Who is that extra health bar there, Plywood?
Prez.
Prez?
Prez. My friend Prez.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll meet the Prez very soon.
I've always guessed that was just kind of left in, because you can write president there and it fits. So I think they just forgot to change it.
You know, it's a very formal title. That is the Prez. You know, it's 2001. Things were a lot more extreme back then. In fact, some would say even European extreme, except European extreme did not come out until the PAL release of Sons of Liberty in 2002.
Yeah, March 2002. But don't worry, we're doing a 20th anniversary for that as well, so we'll see you then. No, we're not.
We'll be seeing the Sons of Liberty version on Sunday as well. Okay, both players grabbing the Nikita, making sure not to hit the mines that are in the water. That's a one-hit kill. Another place where extreme, you can take a hit, you'll go into bleeding, but here, one-hit kill. You shoot the stinger at the wall, and the president gets distracted by it, like, oh, what's going on? Then you get up on this box and navigate these vents, trying to get that stage 2, but you know, the most important thing is navigating well. If your missile screws up, you are going to lose a lot of time here because the president is going to get in your way. And the president gets in your way, you're going to have to shoot it all over again, or else you'll kill Prez. You can't have that.
Because Limes is not going for big boss strats during this race, there is a lethal strat he can use against Vamp. I just don't know whether he would have had enough stingers after that Harrier with that extra shot he had to do. To do lethal Vamp on European Extreme, I believe you need 20 stingers. There is a package in this room with the president, so he may go for that as well. And he's not, so
No.
I wonder what
Probably
he's up
just
to.
doing. I think he's probably just going to do non-lethal.
He's been a bit unpredictable today, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Limes has a lot of strategies in his pocket. He's aware of a lot of backup scenarios, and you have to be aware of those plan Bs at all times when you're doing European Extreme. Things can go awry, and you have to know, what are my options? What option should I take? So, and Limes said to us before the stream started, he didn't really do a lot of practice. So that already, you know, even though he didn't do a lot of practice, he has been doing some scary strats here and
He's
there.
been playing ridiculously well. There is a glitch here. It's called Swim Glitch. It's very difficult to perform, but essentially you can swim up the wall and get out of bounds. Limes is known for not doing it, whether that be in marathon or in races. He very rarely goes for it. I'd be interested to see if Joe does attempt it.
I think Joe should go for it.
This could, a one-cycle swim glitch should be quite huge here for
Joe
catching it.
loves going for it. Like, he will just go for it regardless. So, and if he does, he can save a bit of time on limes. So let's see.
Oh, that's such a swim glitch maneuver.
He's going for it. Yeah, if you see someone stop right there, they're going for it. So
Limes just picked up extra stinger bullets.
All right, so one cycle. We're trying to ride this corner up. Oh, that is well done by Joe. He rode the other side of the corner. That can be kind of tricky, but it's a good backup. So 2 cycle, that is definitely going to save a little bit of time.
We're going to see Lethal's vamp here, 100%. He just picked up the stinger ammo.
All right, let's see if he can do it. He's positioning himself in the back. I've never seen this on Euro. You have to shoot so many missiles. It's nuts. He's
lost it.
He's just going to non-lethal, which is smart. There's no reason to sink yourself in the pool and try again. You have to shoot so many missiles to make that work. So Joe is working in a lead here, in theory, as long as he doesn't screw up Vamp, because he's starting his non-lethal before dlimes does. So the whole idea here is to get those punches in a good rhythm. Tap, 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 tap. Try to get as many as you can and avoid that knife because it's a one-hit kill.
This is one of the bosses, I would say. Like, non-lethal wise, Joe has one of the best vamps going. Like, he will go for way more punches than other people will. I think it's like something like 8 or 9 is like the maximum you can go for, and Joe goes for the maximum on every single pass.
So neither runner gets the kick finisher. If you do the PPK at just the right time, Vamp will fly rather than get stunned, and that fade out will happen. It's like a 2-second, 3-second time save. Neither runner gets it. So Joe, for the first time in this race, is ahead. And that is thanks to that quality swim glitch. Not the best, but quality. And dlimes screwing up that lethal strat.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean, like I say, we've never seen anyone even go for it in a Euro race before. That was the first time we'd even seen someone attempt it. It's much faster than non-lethal. Kudos for going for it, but it has allowed Joe to sneak ahead. Joe will lose 9 seconds for opening the door after he leaves Vamp's room, because that will still be closed due to the swim glitch. That will be open for limes. Small difference. I think it will still keep Joe ahead.
Yeah, it was that Vamp that really got that situation going, because it's lose in quotation marks. It's a done deal either way. You have to make that exchange, whether on your way in or your way out.
Mm-hmm.
But that Vamp is going to help quite a bit. It's still not, I'm not going to say comfortable lead, uncomfortable lead. Still, these runners have been edging each other the whole damn run.
Yeah, and Joe has a choice to make here, because Joe's still on Big Boss, and Limes is not going to non-lethal the guards during the oil fence section, which will gain him a little bit of time as well. I'm not sure exactly how much time it is, but I do know lethal is faster, quote-unquote, because you don't have to menu as much.
And you don't have to go and
pick up the PSG-1T, which Joe just did now.
I think Joe is he's sticking to his Big Boss guns, which hard respect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if he wins this race and on top of it gets Big Boss, that is a hard flex.
Yeah, a memorable day, and I'll be glad to have been here for it.
Absolutely.
That is Joe all over, though. Like, he has his style, and he has how he plays, and he always sticks to it, much like Jaguar King as well. What happens in the race doesn't really affect what they do. They always just go out and play their own game.
This is pretty much neck and neck at this point. That was that T made all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
So both runners, you know, especially when you think about stream delay and whether they started at the exact same time, it's pretty much tied right now. Also, I think Limes. Oh, that reminds me. Limes did
Pause
pause
buffered
stemming,
aim.
and
Yeah.
Joe did not. So I think that actually may mean Limes could be ahead. It's hard to judge, though.
And they can load at different speeds as well, and when it's
Yeah.
this close, you just don't know. You just really don't know. Of course, we always go to the IGT, which is the scorecard at the end. The scorecard for Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance doesn't count loads on the PC version, so we will have the amount of gameplay totaled up at the end, and that will be the how to decide the winner.
Yeah, it's a very fair version of the game, as long as no one does anything squirrely during the credits. It is a fair game. RTA does not matter. So that is just pure execution. So both players, I assume, are going to go for the Emma bump. This allows Emma to be in a further north position as you enter the KL bridge. And the other thing with Emma strats is you want to give her a bump and then hold her hand in the right position to get like the fast hand grab. A lot of runners like hate this sequence, but I think it's really cool because it's just a little sequence of hand holding, and there's tech involved with escorting Emma, unlike Eva, where it's just Eva just does her own thing and you hope that she does what you want her to do. Like
Yeah.
Emma, you have full control over this scenario. Like you are in the driver's seat for this escort, so I like it.
Big time. Like you say, you're not relying on her to do anything. She doesn't do anything. Whereas Eva, you need her to. She has her own mind. I thought he might just AK these cards.
Yeah, I was expecting that. Like, I was about to say we're gonna see two different strats here. Sadly, Joe missing his shots didn't really matter too much. Like, he didn't get spotted or shot or whatever, but that was a small little mistake, creating a little bit of a gap. And, you know, flashback to Tanker. Oh no, he missed the hand grab. That is super easy.
Forgot
You want
Emma.
to try to run into the door and grab her at the same time, but the timing was just a little bit off on that press, I guess.
Here we go. Twilight Sniping, one of the best soundtracks in the game. On European Extreme, there are claymores across each bridge. If Emma hits any of them, it's a one-hit kill. They're also on the last bridge as well. We got ciphers, we got guards. Got to stay in the same place. Don't point the scope at Emma, otherwise she'll fall. It costs about 8 seconds.
It's almost like they planned this. Like, one of them was gonna be on the low video mode, so that it's the red thermos, and the other one is not. And we have blue versus red, and they're both on Twilight Sniping at the same time. This is just wild. 20th anniversary, everyone. This race has been so exciting.
Yeah, I still remember the day when someone had a video. They'd uploaded a speedrun of this game to be verified for the board, and someone was looking at it and they noticed that they had the red thermals, which of course is not normal or not what we were used to seeing, and no one could work out how they did it, and everyone was asking them like, what version is this? But you can actually just change one of the video settings on the PC version and it will give you those like red thermals, which in my opinion look a lot better.
Yeah, that's the red you'll see as well in the Sons of Liberty version. So it's a lot less hard to look at, in my opinion. Like the more accurate, quote unquote, thermals are super saturated and bright, and then the red is a lot easier to look at. So nice shot from Limes.
He doesn't even need thermals. He's shooting them without.
He knows exactly where these mines are. That mine is very tricky. Many people, including myself, have forgotten that mine, and then Emma walks all the way for 5 minutes and then gets killed. It's not a
that
good
would
feeling.
lose you a race. Like,
yeah, that will lose you the race. That will lose you the race. Yeah, we're not really talking too much about the sequence because it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it is the hardest Twilight Sniping sequence of the difficulties, of course, but at the end of the day, it's an auto scroller where you just know where to aim and when to shoot, and that's it. So
If either of them make a mistake, I'll start talking immediately. It's just incredibly rare to see someone mess up this section. One thing worth mentioning is on the low difficulty, the lower difficulty you go, the sooner Snake calls you and offers to help you with the sniping. You just have to call him back, and then as long as you're looking at the target, he'll shoot them. He doesn't come on European Extreme until right at the very end.
yeah, he was busy having a smoke break. He's like, oh, right. Oh my god, right. Otacon's sister. Oh man, the blondie. Right. Okay. So at that point, you know, you can talk to him, but I mean, he's not going to offer you much help. But on very easy, you know, he has his smoke break with you, so that's nice.
Yeah, on European Extreme, he's about as useful as a chocolate teapot, if I'm honest with you.
So while we're waiting out this sequence, why don't we take a little look as a preview for the rest of the day. There's a lot of MGS2 today, but it's not just MGS2, folks. Coming up after this run is Zone of the Enders 2 from Tapioca, who will also be doing Zone of the Enders 1. And for those of you who are familiar with the original version of Zone of the Enders 1, it came with a demo of the tanker for Metal Gear Solid 2. So not only did both games come out in 2001, but they are actually quite linked in many ways, not just because Kojima produced Zoe and Zoe 2.
Yeah, in Metal Gear Solid 2, obviously we get the Zone of the Enders cardboard box. A lot of people bought copies of Zone of the Enders so they could play the tanker demo, which is kind of like people going in to see a film to see the trailer for Star Wars Episode 1. Always reminds me of that.
Or like people bought Tobal number 1 to play the Final Fantasy VII demo. Stuff like that. So Zone of the Enders 2 is the game most people did not buy, but it is, in my opinion, much better compared to the original. The original one feels more like a launch title, kind of a tech demo-y sort of thing. We'll be seeing both games, but we'll see Zoe 2 first. And then after that, we'll be coming right back at you with some more MGS2 with something very exciting, which is a 7-way, very easy tanker elimination style race. And that means that there will be doing 7 races back to back to back of tanker until one person remains on that hill. So quite exciting. D-Limes killed Vamp with
incredibly
Turbo.
fast.
Yeah, this is where Joe is going to lose a lot of time because you have to slowly but surely trank Vamp's leg until he flies off into the water. So that's another thing that's going to create a gap. But again, even though in a sense Joe has handicapped himself by doing non-lethal strats and big boss strats, like I said, if ultimately Limes makes a mistake or has a lapse of concentration, again, that'll be a pretty awesome showcase of I don't need your lethality. So, and he's still on pace, but the problem is Arsenal Gear, folks. Arsenal Gear will enter the chat and ruin your dreams in so many ways when you're on big boss pace.
Yeah, it's such an unbelievably tough section of the game. The final chapter of this run is truly a curveball. Jejnum, Tengu 1, Tengu 2, Raze, and Solidus. Just an unbelievably tough section of the game.
Jack the Ripper.
And it's not entirely in your hands whether things are going to go your way. So we are now in Arsenal Gear for Limes. Gap between them is somewhat significant, but mistakes are mistakes, and they can be quite costly here. So we're going to have nothing, no equipment, no gear. We're about to lose a third of our life, which is really what makes this sequence of the game so difficult on Euro. You know, not only are you dealing with
You can't keep this up. They're bound to
low
find you.
HP in
Listen,
general
I'll fill you
on
in later
European
on.
Extreme. You die so
Brace
quickly.
yourself.
You artificially get a more difficult sequence because of this Olga punch.
Yeah, 2 shots instead of 3 shots now to die. And basically, if you get caught in the Jejunen by guards, there's a damn good chance that you're dying.
Yeah, I think most runners, unless they have practiced I don't even know what the backup is. Most runners I would just lie down and die. Because if you get caught in Jejunen, it's over. You're not going to be able to take much damage. So you want to do a very quick roll here, and that'll cause this guard to notice you, not spot you. The whole thing here is pretty tight. You're dealing with cameras, you're dealing with Tengus up top. There's different strategies for this. Limes is pretty confident in his Jejunen. He made the gap. If you miss that gap, you're losing a lot of time on Euro. Good roll into that Tengu. He missed the door. That's okay. No big deal. He got out without too much incident. Now Joe going for similar success. Makes the gap. Very good. And now he just has to do a nice clean roll into this Tengu. Oh, he's actually going to PPK. Okay, he's being safe. I respect it.
At first I was like, whoa, what is that angle? You
I
can't
know.
roll there. You
I was like,
can't
that
go in
angle's
front of him.
bad. That is not going to work.
It's part
that was
of
all
the
for
joy
the
of
plan.
you know, we're not runners of Euro, and like things still surprise us as, you know, different players' metas develop. That was scary for a moment.
Hey, I've run Euro like twice.
Oh, my bad.
It's okay.
Maybe.
It's okay. I've done
Oh.
way more regular extreme, which is why I'm like, everyone, you should run extreme. Come here, the water's great. But now we just wait in the hallway of doom after slicing the sword once. There's a whole sequence there, but it's really not that interesting. What's interesting is Tengu 1 and Tengu 2. Tengu 1 is where dreams go to die. Tengu 2 is where the rest of your dreams go to die.
Did Joe slash his sword, or did he just change it to non-lethal?
I think he pierced.
Okay.
I think he pierced.
Okay, good. Because if you don't slash your sword, there's an invisible 45-second counter that starts. If you don't slash your sword, it never happens. And you can just stand there forever. And Joe is a 3D printer currently.
So, very specific sequence of events here. Throwing the stun, enough power, using the box. If you do get shot, you won't get delayed. Everything here is quite specific. There is a benefit, though, being on this version of the game. The stuns activate more quickly compared to the HD version, if I'm remembering my versions correctly.
You are correct.
Yeah, it gets really complicated, folks, all the versions in the game. So D-Lime's getting shot by Snake. This causes Snake to equip the assault rifle instead of the pistol. Joe cleaning up, trying to do this
Don't push yourself.
door glitch.
Come on, Joe.
Missed it.
Yes.
Okay, so Tengu 2 skip. So you need to slowly choke this Tengu in the corner. We're not going to kill him. We're just going to keep him alive for a very long time until the game says this Tengu should not be alive. This sequence is over. The problem is that Snake, even with his assault rifle, he can die.
Yep.
And you have no control over that. If Snake doesn't fight well, you'll see it. Snake will just start losing health a lot. And if that starts happening, you're just crossing your fingers at that point. So this is why dreams go to die both in Tengu 1 and Tengu 2.
Yeah, Snake can get forced into an unwinnable situation where he shoots a Tengu with a sword, the Tengu with the sword blocks the bullet, and then he gets shot by a different Tengu, and then he tries to shoot the Tengu again with the sword, and the Tengu blocks, and then that just repeats until Snake dies. That can happen on any difficulty as well, so it can happen in any run, and you don't have any control over it. It's obviously more likely to happen in this one, but the fight should end in a sec for Limes, but he is at risk of a Tengu just running in the door and killing him, but fortunately that didn't happen.
Yeah, the Tengu was coming in, but was thankfully fading out in time, so dlimes did not get trolled by Tengu 2. We've seen that a lot in races of Euro Extreme. It is an X factor.
Yeah.
It is a huge X factor because no one wants to do that fight legitimately. It's way too difficult. So both players having no issue really in Tengu 1 or Tengu 2. So now we are in the situation that I think Limes prefers, is that he's already ahead into Rays, and dlimes is fairly, I don't want to jinx him, but he is one of the most consistent players I've seen at Rays.
Yeah.
You know, he has really worked on his technique and strategy. He's very familiar with this fight and how to do the loop. So he can drop it from time to time, but this is kind of where his bread and butter is. So if you're Joe in this situation, you're hoping Limes is going to start fumbling.
Yeah, we talk about different players excelling at different fights. I talked earlier about Joe being incredibly good at Vamp 1. Metal Gear Ray is definitely Limes' fight. It's the fight he enjoys the most. He doesn't really feel pressure during this fight in the same way as other players. This is a truly difficult fight, so you have to take out 20 health bars worth of Metal Gear Ray in this fight, and the way that runners will try to do that is they want the two Rays behind them to be almost stationary, and then one on stage, so generally by the time the Ray jumps on stage it will be dead, and that can keep the two just directly behind you. That will allow you to get more stingers out and more DPS to end the fight as quickly as possible. I think world record for this fight is something like 3 minutes 58. In runs, you generally see this fight take about 5 or 6 minutes. But yeah, you're a one-hit kill to most of the Rays attacks. The knee rockets and the laser will kill you regardless, even in body armor. The machine gun will drop you into bleeding. But generally, we don't want to be getting attacked by the Rays at all. And we just want to be in a situation where we can output as many stingers on them as we can.
Yeah, the thing that gets weird about this fight is curving missiles and timing with iframes. Sometimes you'll find yourself where the Ray is in a weird position and its wings block your shot. So that happened to Limes earlier, which is why he's in a bit of a backup situation. He's still handling it fine. It's not like his fight has like come to a screeching halt or anything, which can happen if this fight can get away from you and you're in a situation where all the Rays are in their positions on stage. The key thing is just get the Rays to stop at all costs. They need to stop. You don't want them going into position to start firing missiles. If they do that, you're going to have to spend more time dodging rather than fighting, and if the fight becomes more sluggish and you're way more likely to die. Just like Apache said, we just don't want to see them attack at all. It still can happen, but we just want to try to keep them from doing that.
You can see the designations of the different Rays. They're all called Ray hyphen and then a name. The first letter, so it starts at A, goes to B, and then in C. So you can see during this fight that Limes is slightly ahead still.
But not like a incredible amount. Joe is, probably like 20-ish seconds behind or so.
Yeah.
30 seconds behind. So not insurmountable. Limes is getting back into his groove here. You can re-enter the loop it is a dark art that I don't quite understand. It just kind of happens, and you know, that's life. Like I need like a crash. You know, I've asked Limes like, hey, I need a lesson. Can you just like run me through Ray sometime? It's like, yeah, we're just gonna have to spend like, you know, several hours and we're gonna have to do the fight over and over again. And you see this situation, you want to do this in this situation. That is how in depth this fight can get at the high end, rather than just, you know, most people it's just I want to survive.
For a long time, that's what this speedrun was about. When you got to this section, you would have generally a ray, you know, 3 rays on opposite sides of the arena to each other, and you would just see a person doing lots of movement, trying to avoid attacks, and generally just survive. And that was like a...
You would sit in the back, you know, rather than at the front of the stage where you're outputting the fast damage. Because being in the front of the stage, it's scary. Like, the rays jump on stage very close to you, and if you're too close, you'll get knocked down or killed. So, a lot of development in this fight in terms of technique and pushing it further and further and further. So, Limes is approaching the end of this fight. He's about to hit the E series, which once you hit E, you're like, okay, we're almost done. Meanwhile, Joe in his D's. So
Limes ended it with a headshot there as well, just showing how much he knew exactly what he had left of that fight. He did like the smaller head damage just to exit the fight faster.
So while Limes did have some errors, they're what I would say they're Limes errors. They're not the kind of errors you know, most people in Euro make that are, you know, you die kind of error. They're the, I lost a bit of time. I had to like juggle the rays a little bit, you know.
I remember him doing a marathon run of this game, and everything was perfect. He got Big Boss, and because he lost the loop for a bit, he was annoyed. He was like, oh, that run sucked. Like, calm down, my friend. Like, that was one of the best runs of MGS2 I've ever seen.
It's the rest of the run could be bad, but as long as you nailed the ray loop, all is well in the world. So both of these, I think, can Joe do can he do it without turbo?
Yes, and I honestly wouldn't even be surprised if he does, because maybe he wants a break for it today. Quite often on stream, Joe
he's definitely doing it with turbo. I don't know why that's on stage.
He's memeing.
Yeah.
Quite often on his own stream, he'll just do this fight without turbo, and we allowed turbo in this game for health reasons, because doing this torture here, especially the non-nerf torture, kills your wrist. It's really bad for you. But yeah, Joe's just a legend. And it's worth saying that Joe is, regardless of the outcome of this race, he's kept Big Boss right up to this point.
Yep, we'll just have to see if Solidus throws either of these runners for a loop. Solidus really isn't that hard of a fight. It's just a pretty simple punch loop, but unlike HD Collection, where if you make a mistake and you get hurt, it doesn't really matter, it's just an annoyance. On the earlier versions of this game, Solidus does a ton of damage. Like, I think either if he does like the drop from the building attack, it'll either kill you or put you into bleeding, and that's if you have full health.
The unblockable attack as well, the unblockable sword attack, that still kills you as well, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's very dangerous, but as long as you can maintain this loop of going to his good side with his eye, causing the block, and then attacking him on his bad side with his eye patch, you're okay. Limes dropped it there for a moment. It's not too bad, but you do have to practice it, because the problem is this camera can really screw with your movements, and you might get a little bit off base with your positioning. Joe accidentally kicked, so that's not good. We just want Solidus to stand still and look pretty. Ooh, taking a kick right to the face.
Come on, Joe, get a Solidus fight down.
Gets the leg sweep. Thankfully, that leg sweep tentacle attack is just annoying. It doesn't really lose you much health. I guess like Raiden hits his chin on the floor and he's like, ow. But this is not looking great. You do not want to see Solidus doing missiles or anything. So D-Lime's already in phase 2, getting his loop okay.
One more
Joe's
kick
now
and
in
Joe's
bleeding.
dead.
Trying to get back into the swing of things. Now that he's in bleeding, like, we're really in a situation where, you know, one hit kill.
Anything
Frankly,
will
unless
kill
he
him.
decides to sit still, and you don't really want to sit still in this fight.
He's got such a bad camera angle as well.
I think Apache has his hands in his face.
I do.
He's like freaking out. I'm a little bit worried. Joe is starting to be like, okay, you know, I'm in this scenario. Time for D-Limes. I'm in this scenario. That's okay. I'm just gonna block a little bit more. And I want to keep this. I want to keep this because I may not win the race, but I will win a certain kind of victory, which is maintaining Big Boss throughout this whole thing. And we're all rooting for you, Joe.
Yeah,
we're
absolutely.
all rooting for you.
When
Thankfully, he could recover the bleeding while Solidus is, you know, telling you about how interesting this whole thing is. So good.
He repelled Solidus with an attack, so he threw his sword out as Solidus was coming towards him rather than just blocking. It's very difficult to do, and it's something Joe does really often. Welcome, Limes.
And
GG's,
pretty
mate.
wild for him to do that right here after
Joe's got big boss as long as he doesn't lose this fight.
Wow, very nice.
And he nearly died in phase 1, so we were freaking out.
Yeah, I saw his health, so didn't look great.
Come on, Joe.
That's it.
Yes,
GG.
well done.
That's it.
Well done,
GG.
Joseph. Limes, grats on what is most likely the win. Of course, we'll go to IGT. Really impressive, especially going for that stinger against Vamp. We were all so excited for that. It did lose you the lead for a little bit as well, so it's cool to see you go for it, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to develop like a turbo setup. That way I don't have to pace out 16 shots, but yeah, it's whatever. I knew I had time save later from sniping and whatnot, and I screwed up the start of race, but I recovered very nicely, so just whatever. So it was a fun race. It was good.
We were calling them Limes mistakes, where it's not actually a mistake. It's just you not being able to do raise to the perfection that you want. That was quite funny. But yeah, of course, we'll go to IGT. Welcome in, Joe. Grats on Big Boss in a race, mate. Very impressive.
Very good, dude. GG.
I hate Solidus.
we were freaking out. We were freaking out.
Apache was audibly putting his hands in his face, still commentating. Like he's like doing the thing where you have like your middle finger and index like on your nose, right? You're doing that. Like,
exactly that.
It's
I mean, I've been having problems with his eye patch hitbox lately, and sure enough, it happened again. But I am happy with how my run went. I just barely got PV pace, for those wondering. I almost lost it because of Solidus. I won't say about how much. I'll let the IGT kind of surprise everybody. But yeah, GG's, dude. I didn't really try to keep eyes on what you were doing. The only time I really checked was like after Tanker with pictures. Like that was really it. Like I kind of just, you know, focused on my run. Maybe looked at chat once in a while on what was going on.
Yeah, that was an incredibly competitive race. Now there were things like you took safe and you took non-lethal, which lost you a bit of an edge. I mean, I would say really the only part where you were really faltering in a major way was the Solidus fight, as far as like, you know, not being at the level of what Limes was doing with some of his strats. But you were doing some risky stuff that Limes didn't go for. It was kind of a tit for tat at points. So I'm really impressed with both of you. And with the PB in step with the Big Boss, like I'm I'm really happy to see this and be able to commentate for it.
Yeah, I mean, I already knew going in that I had to play Tengu 1 safe. Like Solidus, I've had problems with that this past week. Just getting trolled at the door. But no, I mean, it was a good run. You know, just I think that was the best raise I've ever done. I was minus 26 after raise was done. I was just on fire.
Wow.
And then of course Solidus happened.
I think what was really unfortunate with Solidus is because he kicked you a few times, it got into a really awkward spot, and then the camera angle was like the worst it could have been for kind of the second half of phase 1. So that was really
Yeah, I
scary.
was trying to not panic because of that, and then I didn't want to die either, so I just was really taking my time trying to, you know, chip him down, and then when it was safe to try to, you know, do the crouch during the cutscene, get some of my health back.
Yeah, because you can recover like quite a fair amount, really. If you crouch before the cutscene starts, you have like you know, you can avoid another hit then, right?
Yeah, I mean, unless if you're willing to roll the dice, I don't know. At that point, I was just like, just get me out of here.
It's
I
totally
don't want
fair.
to. I don't want to redo this fight. But yeah, did you go for swing glitch by the way, Limes?
I did not because I went to get the extra stinger ammo because I was attempting lethal vamp with stingers.
How did that go?
I didn't get it, so I had to revert. That's how you got the lead back very quickly.
Ah, dang. Yeah,
So
I almost did a 1 cycle, but it just wasn't quite there. But it was like a longish 2 cycle.
Yeah, it was like a good 2 cycle. You definitely saved time on that, and then your vamp was really strong as well. So
Oh, I
that
took
all
Vamp
helped.
really safe. I was thinking, should I go for 9 hits? And then he was in the left corner, and it was like, nope, it's off the table.
Your safe vamp is my risky vamp. I suck at that fight.
I
Yeah, it
was even
was.
contemplating BMN's coolant spray setup if it really
Oh,
came to that, but
jeez.
I kind of quickly ruled against that once I was in there.
If you did that, I would have been flipping out.
I would have been flipping out,
We
be
would
like,
have been
damn.
freaking out in here because like Lime screws up the lethal strat halfway, and then you know it's basically just a really slow non-lethal setup. And if you did the coolant and then ah,
That
so
reminds me actually, Limes' Harrier was like 1 shot before missile phase. Like you nearly skipped
it
missile
was so
phase. That'd have
close.
been so good.
It was so close.
I thought about the third shot, take the risk, but it was still too close at that point.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I think that would have cost you the race. In all honesty, like.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, I think it would a wing shot have done it. Like if you'd have got like a couple more wing shots, or was it just you needed that extra shot regardless?
Maybe an extra wing shot, but the way after the flyover trick shot, I couldn't get in any more shots. So I don't think I missed any, but it's just the way he flew after the trick shot.
I was
But
actually practicing that trick shot, but the problem was like I just wasn't really ready at the right time, so I abandoned it.
That's fair. Yeah, you do what you gotta do in races. Don't take like all the risks in the world unless you need to. That's basically how I played. I played very safe for the most part.
yeah, there was a great mix of safety and risky strats. I mean, you did the risky shell 1 exit where you cartwheel into the assault team guard. We were going crazy for that.
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with that, and the backup is not that bad if you screw that up. So, but yeah, that's I've done 1 run this week. I've been busy as hell, so that is a D-Rust win.
Yeah, you know, calling that a D-Rust is, you know, kind of a demonstration of where Limes is at as a player, but even so, you know, Joe not only gets a PB, not only gets Big Boss, but he wasn't even supposed to be the person that was supposed to be in this race.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say, you know, if Jag is watching this, I hope I did you proud, man. You know, I know you wanted to be here, but you know, congrats once again to the new you know, addition to the family, aka Jaguar Princess.
I think you
I
know
think
if you're
you
going to
did.
replace Jag in a race, it's very fitting that you came in and got a big boss rank. It's very very fitting. It's
For
just
sure.
like he was here.
Yep.
And then I'm the anti, so that worked.
time coming up for Limes. Don't forget to skip those cutscenes, otherwise you'll lose the race.
Yeah, could you maybe just go AFK for a little bit?
Maybe I'll blue screen.
Thankfully, yeah, Limes was having some computer issues, but nothing bad happened here. Seems like the 20th anniversary is doing you proud.
That's not a bad time.
No, not at all.
That's about 45 off record, 50 off record, give or take. So that's not too bad. With scuffed rays, scuffed vamp one. That's good.
Excellent. Truly excellent. And Joe, not too far behind. I mean, it was really that Solidus that did you in, but still a really respectable run overall if you ignore the errors at the end.
Yeah, it was absolutely awesome to witness, all of entertaining throughout.
I mean, if you take away the 1 and the 2, I have perfect stats.
Yeah, just get a
rip it
little
out.
like a magic
out.
eraser there. Just all right. What do we got?
Huh. Apparently I did get caught somewhere.
Oh no!
Aw.
Yikes.
Did you
That
get a
sucks.
cutscene alert? Transitional alert?
I'm actually kind of wondering where it happened, maybe.
Is it up on your splits?
It's telling me I got 4 alerts. I just don't remember where it happened.
It's not going to tell you
Uh,
where on your splits necessarily.
No, but I mean, it is a PB though.
Yeah, congrats on the PB, mate. You played exceptionally well. And like
Yeah.
it's been said, especially coming into the race super late as well.
Yeah,
Can't
well,
complain at that.
not quite the big boss run, but at least in spirit, I tried to go for it.
Yeah, hung
Good
on to
enough.
it.
You know, Limes is gonna erase the 1 and 2. Just change the Doberman into like an old man, and you're there. So
Oh, actually, Major did
Exactly.
bring up a good point. There was a really close radio call, but I didn't even hear the buzzer. I might have to go back and revisit that because I did record this run in the hopes that maybe there was a chance it would PB.
And in that
Yeah.
sense, talking about going back, let's also have a look forward in that sense. And thank everyone for this race here, dlimes and Joseph Joestar. Shoutouts to you guys. And of course, Plywood and Apache for commentating this race. We'll be switching over to a short intermission, and then we'll come back with Zone of the Enders 2.
Follow me on
Thanks
Twitter.
for having me
Apache
here.
Smash.
Nut.
Yep.